We're live.
We're live. We're live. Here it goes.
Yes, sir. Back again.
We're back again, man. And we got Annie joining us in a few minutes when she's done with her show. So, well, there she is.
Right on time.
And we are live. And they're
Hi, boys.
Hey, hello.
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 I made
hello.
it. My 4th live show today. 4 out of 4. I made it. It's here. It's happening.
How'd it go?
Oh, it was awesome. I had so much fun. Did you watch some of it, Mike? Was it good?
Yeah, it was good. I watched a lot of it.
Yeah. Thank you for doing that. I appreciate it. It was really fun. And I almost want to cry that Living with Attitude is over. I played my outro for the last time, but it's just the end of an era.
End of an era, right?
End of an era.
But you got some new stuff going on, right?
Yeah.
So Is that the reason why you let that go in order to make room for the new projects?
Yep. So Living with Attitude is over. And we've evolved, Mike and I have evolved into the Soul Center Experience live show. So that is coming up with we're booked through November. We're going to be going over all our stuff, talking about really fun things. Hi, Robert. Good to see you. Sorry, I'm not even the host. And I'm like, this is what I do. I forget every time that I'm not hosting.
Oh, you are.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead. Listen, you're making our job easier. Go ahead. You're fine.
So I'm just here as a guest. So please talk amongst yourselves and I'm sure I'll jump in.
No, I want to hear about what you had going on. And you said you were booked up, this new experience. We want to hear about it. Talk to us.
Jaris is on the show.
What's that, Mike?
Jaris is a guest in October. I think he's on your birthday, actually.
Yes, on my birthday, Jar.
Oh, wow.
So the Soul Center, and I don't want to talk too much about this because I want you guys to be able to have your stuff, but the Soul Center Experience Live is the newest evolving show. Hi, Rob. That is based on the breath framework, which is what Mike and I have co-created. And hi, Kenny. And breath stands for begin. B is for begin. R is for reclaim your power. E is excavate your core values. A is allow. T is through, and H is heal. And all of those are very important steps that mirror our journey that we've been through both together and apart. And the upcoming show we're doing a bridge show next Tuesday, but then it really launches June 1st, is going to talk about, each week is going to be someone new doing a different letter. So someone will do B, we'll go through the word breath, then we start again and go through the word breath, and we talk about that person's experience and how it relates to each letter.
Sounds
and Jaris is representing allow because it's allow, not control, Jaris. So that should be good for you.
Yeah, and you know what? I'm actually working on that now.
We all are just
we have
constantly working.
We have till October 19th to get you on board with it.
I'm already on board. That's the wonderful thing about me. I advance so quickly, if I do say so myself. And I've been realizing a lot of my problem is not so much as control, trying to be the boss, but control because in my brain I thought I knew the best solutions based on the way I thought things would be, because I understand it's give and take and all that kind of stuff. But I'm beginning to understand now that it is allowed. It's less control, very, very, very less control. Most of the control is with self and to allow with everything else.
I think Mike and I have talked about recently how much control we actually try to have in our life that we don't even realize that we're having. And it's not necessarily being a controlling person. It's putting things in different places in your life and aligning things in your life and trying to control the outcome of everything. And what it does is it just tightens the reins on your neck and your whole life. And it doesn't allow things to flow and align.
Yeah, I mean, it's as simple as creating fears or creating limitations or creating any type of narrative that can keep you from just flowing, right? And it's very difficult to realize when we do that, because when we're in the moment, it just seems like it's the best decision that we can make. But when we look at it as an observer, right? Which is something that I've really been working on, is truly observing my patterns, behaviors, how I do things, why I do things. It really gets very, very twisted and very quickly. And it's scary, right? Because when it crosses into that area of, wow, I'm really holding myself back in every way possible, and all I did was create this crazy limitation or crazy fear, it all comes back to, fear of the unknown, right? Like, fear of the unknown is very difficult to overcome, right? And to find that place of allowance that allows you to be just whatever it is and have faith in the bigger picture. It takes time to get there. It takes time to believe in yourself that much and to have that self-worth and value within yourself, right? Like, when you step into yourself and you step into your core values and live there every day, it's very difficult at first because you have your old patterns and behaviors from your subconscious. But as you continue to get more used to being in that space, life starts getting really straightforward for you. And toxicity walks away and fears start, dwindling and disappearing, and limits start, shrinking or removing or fading away, because you realize that there's limitless potential for anything and everything. And the only thing that holds us back from reaching there is us. We put ourselves in a position to hold ourselves back. And it all comes down to fear of the unknown, because we don't know what's going to come next. And, it's, for me, my whole life, it was fear of getting hurt, right? So I would set up limitations. I would block myself. I would not be emotional. I would have surface emotions and never go really deep. And, I had no clue what intimacy was. I had no idea what so many of these normal everyday concepts were, because I didn't allow myself to have them. And it really created this paradigm for myself where I couldn't win. It was a lose-lose on every front. And it's challenging. I mean, I still have trouble with my 3-year-old at time and allowing her, right? Like, I'm doing better with it, and I have my moments that it's great and that it's fine, but then I have the moments that are tough because I'm still human and I still, want some type of order, right? Some type of organization, structure, and sometimes it's not that easy. Sometimes you just got to let it be,
I think that what you were talking about, Mike, too, is you didn't bring up the word, but what you were talking about was a lot of vulnerability, that you just didn't have access to your vulnerability. You didn't have that line to it. You didn't understand how to show it, how to be it. And that kept you from intimacy. That kept you from the feelings and the depth because when you were younger, I mean, just from knowing you, being an empath, the depth of those feelings was so great for you that you had to block it because it just it was too painful.
Yeah. I mean, the pain from, what I went through in childhood, and then sort of spiraled out of control in a lot of ways, put me into this position that I always wanted to control the narrative. I always wanted to protect the amount of pain that I was in. I always wanted to self-preservation or numb it out to the best of my ability.
Poor Mike. He's like walking birth control, isn't he, Jar?
Yeah.
He's just birth control. Like, yeah. He shows up like every live, and it's just like an ad for condoms.
Yeah. That was a good one.
Sorry, I didn't even see that material earlier.
That should be my sponsor, Trojan.
Seriously. I mean, it's just, she is, and what's so funny, Jared, that you don't know is that, like, she's like me. He has to deal with the mini version of me having tantrums there all the time. Like, it's the truth. Like, when I start to act like myself, when I'm like a spaz or whatever, like, it's obviously in an adult way, but it sort of is like the same thing. Like, when I have a tantrum and he's like, you're like being Sid right now. Like, I mean, that's truly like how we act sometimes as adults when we don't get our way. Like, I would stomp and frown, you know, and he's like, are you 3 or are you 42? You know? So it's just, I have a funny story for you. We were talking about allowing. So I have a pit bull, a rescue, Randall. And sometimes like Mike and I will talk about whatever, personal, professional, everything on the phone while I'm walking Randall. And Randall has recently started this thing where he won't walk. Like, he just lays down in the middle of like the street or the grass. He just doesn't want to move. And he's 65 pounds. I can't lift him. So he just like decides to lay down, and that's it. He ain't moving. And I could be in a rush trying to get to an appointment, trying to get back. I got to talk to people on the phone. I got a live show, whatever. And this dog is not moving. So what's funny is I'll be on the phone and he's like, Annie, just allow. And as soon as I shift my energy and I just go like, and I allow, he gets up and he starts walking. If I take off his leash and I go, see ya, and I start walking away, he chases me. It's unbelievable, the analogous nature of that story in life. That as soon as you walk away, somebody will chase you, right?
Right, because we were talking about that earlier, and like you say, Mike and I, we have a lot of conversations as well. And I was dealing with a lot of toxic energy and a lot of toxic relationships. And it's just funny that you mentioned that, because he's been telling me that for the longest time, just like walk away. So my walking away was temporarily walking away, but still looking back or still trying to hold on, right? Now that I've 100% completely walked away, but I had to come to that decision. And I made that tonight because I was just replaying the moments and a lot of things that I have been through with these situations. And, you know, I was like, you know what? This is not what I want to do. This is not who I want to be. So I had to make that decision first to, okay, pick a side, because I know that's toxic too. When you play both sides, you know, we can always look at the other person, but I had to look at myself and realize, okay, what is it that I have going on that makes me want to be the same way, right? And it's just being around that atmosphere for so long, I just kind of picked up those habits. But today was a good day for me because I made a choice to walk away.
Well, you know what you did? You not only allowed, you reclaimed your power.
I did.
So when you reclaim your power, that's why B is begin where you are, and reclaim your power is R, because that's the first step in that walking away. You said, I'm done and I will take my power back. Stop giving it away. That's the number one thing that Mike was probably trying to explain to you. And he doesn't tell me about what you guys talk about, but I'm just guessing from what you just said, that the number one piece of that. And then the other thing you said that's so important that Kelly Blackman and I were just talking about on my show is you made a choice. You made a choice, a decision to reclaim your power. And as soon as you do that, you're going to start to see things start to align. You're going to start to see. And the next thing I would say for you is that core values piece. Doing that excavation, and that's what we do in our program, is excavate and do that deep dive into what are your core values, because that's who makes you you. What makes you you? What makes you tick? What makes you Jaris? Not what other people have put on you, not what other people have told you, not what other people have labeled you. What in your heart and soul makes you you? When you figure that out and then you align with it, that's when you can allow. When you allow, then you can go through it instead of around it, and then you heal. That's the whole breath framework. It's beautiful.
It sounds beautiful.
I may say so myself.
It sounds beautiful.
That thing we came up with is so beautiful.
And I love it. But I have to admit, a lot of toxic situations and people, I put myself in those situations because somehow I have been, I'm not going to say tricked. Somehow I think that by me being on this movement that I'm so positive that I can somehow help these people. And it's almost like a test for me to sharpen my skills and see where I'm at. And I think that part is okay. I think what throws me off is when you start to put relationships, you start to put feelings behind it. And I think that's what kind of, makes everything fall to pieces, because you're already dealing with somebody toxic. If I'm not as strong as I need to be or can be, or whatever the case may be, then how can I think that I'm going to really help this person if I'm not in the right state of mind myself?
Well, what happens is you enable them. That's the first thing that you're doing. And when you enable them, you give away your power. And when you give away your power, it takes away your ability to allow things to happen. So you are tightening control. You're tightening the reins. And when you do that, it suffocates everything. And then what it comes down, that actually, truthfully, Jaris, it comes back to a little bit of ego. Because what we do is we want to be so helpful and we want to save everybody, and it feels so good, but it comes back to your own ego. You can't save everybody. It's not your job. Take a step back and realize they have to save themselves. You have to save you. And then the people that need to align with you will align with you.
Yeah.
But when we're chasing, that's when the problem comes in.
I keep hearing this word align. And this was me in the past. And I know it sounds, like 2 weeks, but for me, 2 weeks, a week is a long time for me to stretch my wings and to, see my own self, so to speak. But align. I keep hearing Mike say this, and I hear you say this, right? Can you go into some detail of what that meant for you? And based on what you know about me, what is aligning for me?
So I can say what had happened for me. And then I think because Mike has talked to you for extensively, he should talk about how align would work for you, because he knows better than I do. But for me, and I just talked about this on my show, so sorry for the repeat if you guys are watching both shows. But when I leaned in really hard and made a decision to lean into Annie Lieb LLC as my career and stepped into my truest, most authentic self, which is my real core values. And I understood what they were, and that personal freedom is my overarching core value. And it means so much to me. What makes me me is showing up as me. When I leaned into that and said, this is who I am, this is my mission in life, this is what I'm meant to do here, this is where I'm supposed to be, this is my purpose. And I became bulletproof, and everything started to align in my world. Business started to grow. People were starting to become attracted to me that I was doing business with. Mike's and my partnership became even stronger. We were coming up with all these different things, these ideas. Everything started to come in focus. It was like a little bit blurry before. It was just getting almost there, and then I would get in my own way. And then all of a sudden I leaned in. I had this amazing conversation with my dad. And then everything started to align. And that's where I am right now, this journey and I'm in this wholeness, in this place of fulfillment that I've never been in 42 years. And it's really just a beautiful place to be. So that's what alignment feels like to me.
Alignment for me was stepping into my core values. Once I stepped into them, which took very big steps because it meant owning things that I didn't have to own. But for me to be my best version of me, I had to own things. I had to be accountable for my actions, even if it was unknown by other people. It's scary and it's risky and there's fear involved. But when I did that, I reclaimed my power for me. And there are days that, I wobble. There are days that I fall out of it a little bit. But because, one, I have accountability. I mean, Annie, is enormous accountability for me, right, as we are for each other. And also, there's a big part of I'm just hyper acutely self-aware, right? Like you've always talked about how over analytical you are. Reframe it. Become hyper acutely self-aware. Like reframe it to a positive. I mean, it was a big turning point for me to realize that. Like realizing that it's a positive. Why does it have to be such a negative to break things down? I think, you could use that in a positive way, but You know, knowing you, like I know you, I mean, your first step is you've begun, but you're always going to begin again, right? Like you're always going to begin again. So just know that. But you really need to excavate your core values. You need to figure out exactly what your core values are. That's where you're kind of stuck right now. You're really stuck because I got to tell you, before I did that work, I didn't know what my core values were. And how could I step into something not understanding what it was? You know, for me, it was truth. That is my biggest overarching core value. That is how I found my personal freedom. That is how I found my fulfillment, my peace. My intuition was my whole life being second guessed. And it really made me question myself in every way possible because I didn't have the self-worth or personal value to understand that some people just aren't ready to be that open, right, at their time. And it made me question myself in every single way. It was twisted. It wrapped me up. It made me nuts at different times. But as I've taken this journey, once I stepped into my core values, there was no more questioning myself. There was no more doubting myself. If people didn't want to be open, I saw straight through it. And it was fine. That's on them, not me. I wasn't owning that part anymore. I refused to own other people's actions anymore. You know, like, does it still impact me in ways? Yeah. But it doesn't have the impact it used to. And over time, it's getting less and less. You know, it's that, like Annie said, it's that bulletproof feeling, right? Like, for me, it was that step in January when I stepped into my core values and started taking accountability for things that most people would have never have found out. And it meant risking a lot doing it. It meant risking a lot. But I knew I had to do it for me. I had to do it to become self-empowered and to step into myself and be my truest self and most authentic self, my soul-centered self. And you know what? Things have a funny way of working out when you do that. You know, and it's when you do that for yourself, it inspires other people to do the same. And it inspires other people to catch up to you that mean that much to you. It's a very intricate process. It's a very detailed process. It's a lot of work, but it is beyond worth it, Jaris. Like, when you start living into your core values, it creates this peace, personal freedom, and fulfillment like you would never understand any other way. It's just, you can't even comprehend what it means until you start feeling it. Because I'm telling you, the first 41 years of my life, I never felt this, ever. I had no clue what this feeling was like. Now today, it doesn't matter where I am, what I'm doing, what's going on around me. Yes, my 3-year-old gets under my skin quite well. But outside of that, I mean, that's her job, so it's okay. And it's practice, you know, it helps me learn patience for others. But there's lessons there, right? Like, there are lessons there to be learned. And just like Annie's learning from the analogies of, you know, Randall, I'm learning from the same analogies with my 3-year-old. Like, I am every day. I learn more from her than I can learn from any other person in my life. You know, she's just trying to find her personal freedom. And I don't want to take it away from her. I really don't want to take it away from her because society's going to try to. And I'm going to stop society for trying to. I don't want her to lose that innocence. I don't want her to lose that feeling. I want her to walk through life with that feeling. Because could you imagine if any of the three of us had this feeling our whole lives, what we would do? What we would have accomplished, who we would have helped, how we would have inspired? So why am I going to take that away from my children? Why do I want to be the one that takes it away? I'm going to try to every extent that I can to allow them to be in that. Obviously, I'm going to protect them. Obviously, I'm going to keep them from hurting themselves. Obviously, I'm going to be a parent, but I'm going to also not be a conventional parent because I don't want to take it away. I want them to keep it. I want them to have that curiosity. You know, my son comes home and when he's doing they give him reading homework, which that's a whole other topic, but besides the point, You know, he found it on Siri that Siri will read the book to him and he doesn't have to read. I don't care. If he's comprehending the information, I can care less how he gets it. What do I care? Go ahead and go listen to Siri for an hour. I don't care. You're still comprehending the information. I mean, adults listen to audiobooks, kids. What's the difference? It's the future. Everything's going to be by voice. We're going to have sunglasses or glasses on that we can push button. We can just click with our eye and be able to purchase things. Like, what am I going to teach my kids ways to do things from 50 years ago when I want to teach them ways to do things from 50 years from now? Let them be prepared for the future, not be scared of it. Let them fit into where the world's going, not hide from it. You know, yeah, it's not conventional. Yeah, it doesn't fit into the system. But you know what? The system's going to change. It's changing already. The stakeholders just don't realize it.
Jaris, can I jump in and ask you a question, since this is like a show on men that are emotional, or tough men, or what is it called?
the tough. It's called Dukers Are Us. It's the tough step.
Dudes that are tough but also emotional. Whatever. All right. So you get my point. The dudes. Okay. So my question is, Jaris, what do you feel when I say, "Tell me about your inner child"?
What I feel when you say, "Tell you about my inner child."
Tell me about your inner child.
What I feel now that I'm learning is my inner child wanted more love coming up. I didn't get the 100% assurance that I was making the right decisions when I felt alone a lot of the times, believe it or not, having a lot of brothers and sisters. You know, I had my mama and my daddy in the household up until a certain point of time, but the inner child was neglected through no fault of theirs, but I just was battling anxiety at an early age. I worried about everything. So when I do think about my inner child, the first thing that comes to mind is love, like wanting to be loved. Even as an adult, you know, I think that's why I do stick around and date some of the women that I do, because I'm trying to fill that void of being loved. I can remember being, I don't know, maybe 23 or 24 years old, the first time actually that I can remember being an adult telling my mother that I love her. I might have did it as a child, but for that long period of time, we just didn't do that. You know, it's not like we didn't love each other, but we didn't communicate it. We didn't hug each other. It just wasn't our thing in my family, and it's still not. I mean, we're getting closer, and we do say "I love you" now, and it, you know, it was awkward, but just to answer your question, love. I just didn't feel that. You know, I just want. Even now, I'm still looking for somebody to, in a weird way, female, to comfort me. You know, to give me that kind of reassurance.
It's not weird. It's not weird. It's just that you're going to look for that until you comfort yourself, until you talk to that inner child and love that inner child, then you will comfort yourself. And until you do that, you're going to fill the voids with women that are probably not going to give you what you need.
Spot on. But going back to what you all were saying about aligning, right? What it means to me, like Mike said, I know I'm gonna look at this core values because I do study and I practice self-knowledge a lot. So that's why I'm able to evolve and grow so fast. But everything with me allowing it to happen is aligning by us even having this conversation. And Mike's insights are so strong. I'm looking at him like, wow, like he has really single-handedly been taking his time with me, putting things in proper perspective slowly, without me recognizing it. Now I'm kind of like recognizing the signs, but like he said, I get it now. You know, it's everything is already lining up with me. I just gotta allow it to happen. And that's
you have to allow
in these conversations, because I take this real heavy, and I feel like this is like my therapy, getting behind the camera, having these conversations, because as soon as I get off from doing this, I'm by myself now. You know, I've been by myself for like 3 weeks, and I absolutely love it. But I wasn't. Let me ask you a better question then.
Okay.
Knowing what I told you about the inner child, like how do I begin? Like, what would be a step for me to fulfill that void without looking for from anybody else?
Write your inner child a letter. Write young Jaris a letter. And I'm not going to tell you what to say or what not to say, but write him what you think he needs to hear. And just free write, not like worried about what anybody's going to think or anybody judging you, or don't even judge yourself. Just free write to him what you think that little boy needs to hear. That's the first step. Report back to me and we'll go to the second step.
But you know what's so crazy that you said, and that's why I know everything is aligning. That's why I just smile and I feel so good, because I wrote another letter and I just was, writing out some other stuff, and I wrote it all down just like you said it, and I free wrote it, read it, and then I burned it. I set it on fire. So you are exactly right with what you're telling me. And of course, you know this already, but just let you know how everything is aligning up with me at its proper time. And I know Mike just sitting up here looking like, it's got to be amazing to have insights and to watch somebody else who's willing to learn, who wants to learn, but they're kind of like stuck in their own way, and you want to help them, and you see that they won't help. It has to be a good feeling to know that you can impact somebody else's lives just by, pulling a little here and adding a little there or subtracting.
You see, he's allowing also. He's practicing the allowing step with you. He's going through this journey with you, but he can't do it for you. He can't tighten those reins and have control and tell you what to do. He can't make you do it. He can't fix you, and he knows that. So he's allowing you to reclaim your power. He's allowing you to, now he's telling you need to excavate your core values. He's allowing you to go through, because he understands that you can't go around anymore, because you've tried that. And look, how's that working out for you, right?
Yeah.
And he's going to allow you to get to healing. And that's what he does, because he's omniscient. This is what I think. I think he's like got these godly powers, and he's like omniscient and omnipotent. So that's just a whole other story. But like that aside, that's an exercise in patience for him. Not because it's irritating to work with you, but the fact that you want to tell somebody what to do, that's a control. I want to tell you, I want to fix you, I want to make you, but if you're on your own timeline, you're doing this when you're ready, when you get out of your own way. And Mike is patient enough to watch this journey. Trust me, I've taught him plenty of patience. He's patient enough to watch you go through this journey.
I mean, over the last 15 months, I've acquired more patience than I think I could ever imagine having in a lifetime. And that's fine. It's obviously needed for this life. Okay, so, but Jaris, you want to know, no, but you want to know why every single person that joins us is so inclined to literally help you on the spot? You are the co-host of this show, and you take notes. You take notes and you take action. Like, you're a perpetual learner. You don't stop wanting to be better and improve. And I'm telling you that is not rare. That's like nearly impossible to find, because you have zero ego, zero. And I fall into ego at times. Annie falls into ego at times. We all have habits of it, but you have a way of having none. And I admire that. I strive for that. I try to learn that and absorb that from you, because it's easy for Annie to say that I'm omniscient and omni whatever it is.
Omnipotent.
The other one. I'm impotent. Okay.
God.
So
Get it.
Okay, wrong word. What do I know? I just shortened it. So, it's easy to hear those words, but it's really a process, and not go to ego, right? And keep in mind, Annie, words are very important. Annie, so when she says things, she means them and believes them. So the fact that somebody like Annie believes that about me, it takes a lot for me not to go to ego with that. Like, it's an effort not to go to ego. Sometimes it's downplaying it. Sometimes it's diminishing it. And now I just receive it because it's what she believes. And, I accept certain things about myself today, that I do have abilities and gifts, and, I am different than most, and I'm okay with that. I like being an other. I like being different. I like standing out. I'm not scared of that anymore. My whole life I was, because I wasn't being true to me. You know, you're on this perpetual journey of learning. And it's amazing and it's beautiful. And it's the reason that, you know, when you reach out to me, I call you right away because you have something you want to say and I know it. And that's fine. You know, and I'm there. I listen. I pay attention. I want to be there for you. Most people can't do that because they're not willing to be there for themselves. You know, you want to do the work. You know, there's a list of books that me and Annie can give to you to either listen to or read that would do wonders for you. Because that's how it all started with me. She gave me a list of books and then I just ran with it. And that was the beginning of my journey, right? And it was this obsession with healing. You know, I turned my OCD and my obsessive behavior into a positive, you know, and it consumed me to get better and to want to heal and to want to evolve and to want to be whole. You know, there's been many times I've been very connected spiritually. There's been many times I've been very mentally connected and really, you know, mentally and spiritually aligned. But never in my life up until these last few months have I ever been mentally, emotionally, and spiritually aligned. And for the first time in my life, I really want to keep that alignment. I work on it every single day to keep that alignment. It's an active practice. You know, it was funny because when we were on Sharice's show a couple hours ago, she asked me what I do for self-care. And I didn't even realize how much self-care that is to stay on that course. You know, and it really is. It's a lot of work. It doesn't appear like work. It doesn't feel like work because it's casual conversations or it's deep conversations or it's just real conversations of staying in that clarity, of staying at that connected level, of not wobbling out of my core values, of, you know, not doing things that go against who I am, right? Like, it takes a lot for me to do that at times. But, you know, doing it is work and doing it is taking action. And I don't think I give myself enough credit for that. And that's a realization. And Sid's grunting, so who knows what that means. But you know,
I think one of the best things about you, Jaris, is what Mike's talking about, that you take notes, that you're the co-host, and that you show up with an open mind and an open heart. And that makes people want to help you, and that makes you helpable, and that makes you able and willing. And there's something about someone like that that is very attractive, meaning people are attracted to you, to help you, to be there for you, to be a partner to you. And you know what else it does? This just came to me. I think Kathy Clarity's here, Mike. This just came to me. What else it does is it's going to attract people to you that are energy vampires. So you need to be careful of that and be aware. So you working on your self-awareness about who you are and what you bring to the table and your worth is going to be huge for you, because you're going to get people in your life that suck you dry of your energy. And because you give off a lot of positive energy and a lot of openness and love. And if you turn that inward, I could talk to you for hours about how to do this. If you turn that inward toward yourself, that open-mindedness and that love and connection to yourself, your inner self and your inner child, everything will start to change for you.
Yes. It's
Your
just
whole world changes.
It's y'all saying that because that is exactly where I'm at. I just thought about this maybe 2 nights ago. I said, how about you put some of that time and energy and love that you go out of my way to put into everybody else? Mm-hmm. And it's okay to a certain extent, but I mean the ones that really, you know, give me that behind the kiss after I'm pouring. I said, if you just take 10% of that and put it in yourself, I know I'm gonna be better. And one thing I heard y'all saying about me taking notes, but I've always been like this, and that's my secret. That's how I grow and excel so fast, because I'm an active learner, like y'all saying. And not just that, I'm quick to put things into my perspective. So based on what I have going on in my life, my beliefs, my past, knowing the thing about the younger Jaris and all of that, I'm quickly able to add and subtract it up to tailor make it for me the way it makes sense, so I can use it to help myself and help somebody else. But I think the number one thing I've learned this year is the importance of self-love.
And that's got to start with that little you inside, that, because you're common, and this is most people's, but the common thread in everything that you talk about comes down to your self-worth. Your self-worth, if you work on that and you fill up that self-worth tank, and you realize that that little boy that didn't get enough love, didn't get enough connection, and didn't get, what he needed at that time. And that's not blaming anybody, because our parents all did the best, but like, whatever happens, didn't get what you needed at that time. You need to understand that you are worthy of that love. You matter. You're enough. And that's what this work does. So when you start pouring all this stuff into that self-worth bucket, it's going to start to align for you. And that's exactly where you are. You're right. I see it. You are right at the edge of the mountain, looking over, like, ready to fucking hand glide off, or whatever you do off there. Just go, just fly. You are right there. It's a really exciting time for you, but it's a really big turning point for you right now. I feel it and I see it.
Yeah. And Mike been telling me it didn't make sense, but I get it now. It's like I be in my own way. And that's why I love Mike. Because he says it, but he says it so delicately that you have to, yeah, I mean, for me, like he was telling me tonight, the core values. He's been saying that to me, right? Just easily just saying it. You need to work on your core values. Or same thing you said, hey, let it go. Allow yourself. I'm even telling you this for months now, man. Let it go. Put your head down, walk forward, right? But he didn't try to beat it in me. He said it, repeated it. Now he's getting other people who see it comes better coming from you. Like I accept it coming from you. Not saying that I didn't accept it coming from him, but now you said it this one time. I called it like a fastball. And I know he's over there like, man, I've been telling you the same thing for 3 months.
He knows the magic of Annie. Don't tell him. He knows. He knows. Sometimes you need a little Annie in your life.
But it's all good though, y'all. It really is. Even, going through the stuff that I go through, the toxic, the negative, the growth, the pains, the alignment, the journey, whatever, it is all good, Even on my worst day, it's still all good.
Well, you know what I learned recently it's not even that I learned it recently, I accepted it recently. This was huge. That the biggest struggles in my life, especially the people in my life that I had the most toxic relationships with, or, hurt me the most, were the biggest gifts in my life. They taught me. They were, someone said yesterday, they were my master teacher. They were my mastermind of teaching me exactly what I don't want to be and who I don't want to be. They had a PhD in it. That's what this person said. A PhD in showing me exactly who I don't want to be. So instead of saying, look what I went through, look how much it hurt, look how much I struggled, look how much pain I had, look how toxic this was. It's a total reframe of, wait a minute, I'm me because of that. I'm able to help lift people. I'm able to do what I'm here to do and complete my mission because of those struggles and those same people and those same struggles and pain.
You spot on. Because I was going through the situation, going back, leaving, going back, and I said, okay, what am I not learning, or what am I supposed to be learning? And I quickly figured it out. And Mike had told me this too, the exact same thing you're saying. That what's the lesson in here? The lesson is what not to do, what not to tolerate, what not to put up. And I was talking to my cousin. I told Mike this today. My family members are picking on it. They know. They're like, this person, the situation, even attempts to come back on the same type of time, it's not going to work. My subconscious is so strong. I'm knowing myself. I know my values. I know my worth, that I'm not even going to even want to deal with it. It's no way it could work. So I think that's the beauty in everything that you just said. It was very spot on. I'm going through the same exact thing right now.
It's amazing how even that I didn't talk to Mike before this and talk about you or anything. Like this just came together because like, and I speak his language and because this is the truth. This is our truth. This is the journey that we've lived and continue to evolve and live in. So we speak the same way, but it's not like planned. You know, it's not like say this when you get on the show. It's like just go, you know? So this is all coming to you now. The reason it's coming like a fastball to you is not because I'm saying it in some special way. It's because I've said the same thing Mike has been saying to you for a long time. Now you're seeing it. You're ready to see it and hear it and do it now.
I'm so glad too. I'm not trying to keep going in the past. I was looking at myself like, what is wrong with you? Why in the world would you keep subjecting yourself to people?
Because that's what we do. That's what we do.
Showing you. I mean, they showing you to your face like, I really don't care about you. I might like you a little bit, but I don't care about you enough to respect your boundaries or anything. And I just say, why do I keep going back or even wanting to go back? Because I didn't let it go. And I let it go.
Because that little boy inside wants love. And that little boy seeks love in people that aren't able to give it to him because he doesn't have the right amount of worth. When he gets his worth cup filled up, other people will be attracted to him and he will be attracted to other people to love, not to fill his voids, but to feel love. It's different.
Yeah. Yeah.
And
wow.
And Jaris, you got to understand though, this is coming from personal experience, right? Like I've been down this path. I never had worth. I never had a personal value. I never understood it. I didn't know what I was worth. I thought I was worthless, right? That was the absence of value. And I always looked to fill voids any way I could. The escapism, any of my addiction, like it was all about filling voids because I just didn't think I was worth it. But at the end of the day, it took doing the work and understanding it and being seen. You know, being seen is a big part of this. You know, you've got to, when you find your people that see you for who you really are, those are the people you keep around. And you go through shit with them. You go through the ups and downs. You go through the waves. You go through the pain. You go through the struggles. Because you know what? Both sides are worth it. Because it's worth it. When you find your people, it's worth it. And you don't need to chase anyone or anything. Because your actions are going to make people come to you, or they're going to push them away from you. And that's how you're going to know who's staying and who's leaving. You know, because at the end of the day, it's the actions that change. It's not the words. Words are easy to say. Words are so easy to say. But when the actions start speaking, that's when you know you're getting somewhere. That's when you know you're finding your core. That's when you know that you're hitting your soul. And that's when you know that the ones around you are going to feel it. It's a lonely journey until it's not. But we have to allow and be willing for it not to be. But until we find ourselves, we can't find anyone else or anything else. And that's kind of where you're at right now. You're taking the lonely part of the journey, which is going inward. And I promise you, once you find yourself, you're never alone ever again. Because you always have yourself. That's the key. I mean, and trust me, it's not easy. It's not easy. You know, I still go through it every day. I still have, the negative narratives that, I kick out of my head on a daily basis. They don't get through anymore because now I'm aware and I notice and I pay attention and I beat the crap out of them and I get rid of them. Yeah, they still come because it's still going to try. Our mind's still going to play games with us. Our subconscious is still going to kick in and try and control us and push us back to our old patterns and behaviors. But we've got to trust ourselves enough to know that we're going to just move on our path. And that's the reality. Like, this is all about worth and value. And it's not a reflection upon anyone else in our lives. It's not. It's just sometimes we move past others. And there'll be times that others move past us because everybody's on their own path. And that's the reality.
Spoken well. Spoken very well.
Every once in a while.
Spoken very well. Y'all
Have
call
mic drops tonight. Mic drops are happening left and right here.
It's not even just a mic drop. It's the point of the matter that you all are seeing me. You're allowing me to show myself without judgment, and you all are helping me, not just because we don't have anything else to do, but a lot of things that go on. I don't tell Mike everything, but a lot of stuff that we talked about tonight was 100% accurate, 100% spot on. It's like you didn't know I was talking to the inner child, working on the core values, none of this stuff. So I just appreciate y'all too for letting me know that the path I'm on, I'm okay. I'm right where I need to be. And this is my confirmation.
You said something really interesting just now. You said you're allowing me to be seen, right? You're allowing us to see you. That's the difference. You are allowing us to see you, and that's changing everything. It's not us letting you be seen. You've decided to allow yourself to be seen, and that's why you're doing the work.
Yeah. I mean, but you know what that also means, Jaris? That means that you're starting to see your own worth and you're starting to see your own value.
Yeah.
Because you know you're worth being seen. And that's the truth. You might not be acknowledging it yet. You might not be feeling it yet, but you're starting to know that you have a value.
Yeah, and I think I'm not going to say I think, I know a lot of it goes back to the little Jaris that didn't get, and I talked to my mom about it, and she was straight up and honest with me that she didn't do as much as she could. Now, I'm not knocking. I love my mom to death. I think she did an awesome job. All of my brothers and sisters were healthy, the ones that are living, whatever. But just getting to the truth of the matter, I understand what you're saying, Annie, about that situation. That is exactly what it is for me. I've been like this for a long time, but I'm still like trying to get out of that shell of being the introvert or whatever, or having anxiety or the love thing. But I'm going to do this letter. And I'm going to follow up because I know I've been putting it off. I kind of knew to do something. I didn't know until you really said it, but I just was running from it for some reason.
Well, it can be a painful thing to do. It's extremely cathartic. Extremely cathartic.
What's cathartic? What does that mean?
Like it comes through your heart and soul. Like when you do it, you will feel it throughout you. It's an exercise that will be within your being, and you'll feel it through your heart and soul when you do it. It will change you if you really take the time to do it. You will see things that you haven't seen. It's a guaranteed. It's an amazing exercise.
I'm gonna do it as soon as I get off, and that's why I love putting the work in, because to me, it's like now that I'm kind of like understanding, I'm like, okay, hold on now. You thought you were strong or whatever the case may be. Now I'm like, Mike, like, man, this stuff is unlimited. And it's like cool to even just think about knowing like, look, I can hold myself up and feel 100% comfortable in the skin that I am. I did a video today talking about being uncomfortable, and I do it a lot. But I want to be able to be just comfortable 100% with myself. And I think that's a level I'm trying to get to. And like Mike said, I know it'll be another level after that. But I think that getting to that part will help me with everything else that I'm dealing with.
It's good stuff, boys.
Yes, rocking and rolling as usual, guys.
It's real.
It's definitely
real. It is. Tomorrow morning we have the clubhouse.
Yep. Rocking and rolling. We are on tour.
I want to be on time, 9 o'clock.
No, 8:30, 9:30 your time.
8:30 my time?
Wait, no, 8:30 my time. 9:30 your time.
9:30. Gotcha. Yes.
Yeah, I already put the event in Clubhouse.
It's good stuff. I'm going to peace out, guys, because I got to get home to Randall. I'm not home yet. But I wanted to tell you, thank you for having me. I appreciate both of you. Jaris, you're amazing. Michael, you know what I think of you. And I'm going to say goodnight.
Good night. Thank you so much for
Yeah,
joining.
Thank you for having me.
I'll be in touch.
I'm going to end it and go figure out my kids.
Okay. Bye. You too, Jar.
Bye, everyone. All right, Jaris, I'm going to end it. All right, bud?
All right. I'll be in touch. Good night,
All right,
everybody.
man. I'll talk to you soon. Good night, everyone.